Hello and welcome to the Orbiting Brick. Today's video is the debut of my brand new Space Shuttle. A replacement for my mini shuttle. You can see pretty striking differences. First of all, it's top mounted. It uses Mark II fuselage parts. And there's many differences, and it's better in every single way. It actually has a launch escape system which will not be demonstrated. And so, some comments on the actual booster design. The side boosters are 1.875 meters in diameter, core is 2.5 meters in diameter. It's based on the external tank from my previous mini shuttle. All three cores use mainsail engines. You can see the boosters detached there. The second stage on the center engine uses a Poodle engine, which we should see fairly soon. Now, there weren't many test flights before this, and yeah, there's some revisions I'll have to make to this. But there we go, stage separation. The adapter from the shuttle to the booster is a bit rough. I'll admit that, but I couldn't make a better one. I just couldn't figure out a way to use the structural pieces. But you can see we've deployed the wing-mounted solar panels, the cargo bay, and also a docking port cover. That antenna, it's way too much for just low Kerbal orbit. Though I thought it looked cool. And this is a sandbox mode, so most of the stuff I am doing is because it looks cool. Now, on October 4th, October 4th is the anniversary of the launch of Sputnik 1. And since I won't be able to make a video for that, I thought I'd put a little tribute in this video. And so, before doing our main mission, we're deploying this secondary payload. Yeah, it's a Sputnik replica. For some reason, the Tentari's Sputnik 1 has a ridiculously powerful reaction wheel. Yeah, this is now going to be forever in my low Kerbal orbit. And actually something similar to this was done in real life from the Mir space station. So now we can continue with our main mission, which I've neglected to discuss. It's rendezvousing with the failed space station from my space station launch gone terribly wrong video. So since I've done my entire Aduna mission since then, it's been a few years since that launched. It's had various part failures, and so this mission will rendezvous with it and repair it. And various other things I can say about the design of the shuttle. It has on-orbit supplies for over 15 days. It has dual redundant deorbit motors. As said before, it has a launch escape system, and I don't recommend trying to use it on the launch pad. It'll work, but it won't be a comfortable landing. Though it can do it has a full flight abort window. At any point, it can safely just detach from the booster. I probably should talk about what's happening on screen. A standard rendezvous. I've just in that upper stage. Ignore the structural piece just flying off on its own. That's because of the way that bicoupler piece works. And we actually use two of the no longer needed abort motors for the separation. And so, we're approaching the station. And as you can see, it was left in a slow rotation, which it's unable to correct, as both its reaction wheels and solar panels have failed. And I made some futile attempts to dock, though I can't get this to a dock. Maybe if I use the docking port alignment indicator for this, but just docking with a rotating target anyways is bound to be difficult. And after several attempts, one of which is on screen, I decided to instead first time warp until we were in the daylight, and then get to Kerbals on EVA. Well, both of them are engineers, and I'd have them go over and do some repair work on the station. Yeah, because thankfully, all of the failures on the station. So Kerbalism has two types of failures, just malfunctions and permanent malfunctions, one of which can be repaired, the other which cannot. All these failures can be repaired, which we can do. And once I get the solar panels repaired, I can have the station reorientate itself and make docking possible. So with that done, and just inspecting some other parts, and the crew can reboard the shuttle, which I'm just gonna say, another one of the ways that this redesigned shuttle is better than my previous one is it has double the crew capacity, and again that small cargo bay. And now, so again the craft to actually dock, there was still some weird challenges, but that eventually was worked out. And I am having another EVA performed to inspect some more of the craft, and I've neglected to mention the name of this shuttle is Argo, mainly because that was on the Wikipedia list of mythical ships. That's where I get most of my vessel names from nowadays. And so, inspection, most of it looks good. Not much to really talk about right now. And I end up using most of the remaining ignitions on the space station engine. And now during its time with the damaged shoulder panels, it was unable to replenish the nitrogen in the inflatable module as nitrogen slowly leaked out, so we had to wait for it to repressurize. But now the crew can enter into the station and spend a few orbits at the station. They have supplies for over 45 days. Though this, I wanted it to be a shorter mission. It was just a mission to reinsure the functionality of the station for a further expansion. Also, people keep saying that Kerbal Space Program 2, despite all the bugs, it still looks better than Kerbal Space Program 1. But I don't think I've ever seen Kerbal Space Program 2 look this good. And also, I have no idea why I've started this tangent on Kerbal Space Program 2, which I haven't been playing a lot of because of both tons of bugs and I'm enjoying KSP1 with mods right now. Now, I had another EVA to inspect the engines before deorbit, and it's a bit concerning as the engines, well under their operational limits, are already showing significant signs of damage and need to be serviced. Which, I mean, that's really just a bad luck with Kerbalism. Though that could be in-universe another reason to make some redesigns to the shuttle before the second flight. And when this bug happened again, happens to me all the time when moving stuff in inventories, or just that, well, the EVA construction marker just appears. If this happens to you, I just fix it by having an engineer go on EVA, activate construction mode, deactivate it, and it worked, and the indicator is gone. Now, before we undock, I decided to raise the orbit of the station a bit. It was dangerously close to the atmosphere before. Yeah, and I had to use RCS and the low throttle because of how unbalanced this craft is right now. So just another burn to complete the Hohmann transfer. And to a pretty circular 90-kilometer orbit. And so, nice shot of the two craft docked. And it's about time to depart. So, the shuttle undocks, the station reorientates itself, and some RCS gets the two craft separated. Nice view of the nice view of the station from the hatch window. And now it's time to deorbit. And I'm using the mod trajectories, and I initially thought that, well, I always ended up falling short of the marker indicated by trajectories of where I would land with the previous design, so I again assumed with this that I would also be off the marker, and I ended up not being, and that caused some issues. And if I trusted a marker, I could have definitely landed at the Kerbal Space Center. Now, I had some action groups to toggle the solar panels and cargo bay doors, which those weirdly got messed up. Not quite sure what happened there. But now we're re-entering. And I was on a test flight of this. I was trying to test it to destruction. Burned all of the fuel in it, basically. Raised its orbit as high as possible. Re-entered. Completely expected it to blow up. It was perfectly fine. So yeah, I wasn't concerned at all about this re-entry. And for most of it, I had the UI off. And it wasn't like my previous shuttle, where I was constantly checking the Kerbal Engineer thermal readouts. Now, so I intentionally overshot the Kerbal Space Center because I thought I'd end up undershooting, but yeah, no. Still going 2 kilometers a second and 40 kilometers high, and going right past the Kerbal Space Center. I'm now desperately trying to slow down, and with re-entering Delta Wing craft, or Delta Wing like derivatives such as this Canard design, it went incredibly unstable, and yeah, I was concerned that stuff would start melting. However, it survived, and we're instead landing at the Welcome Back Island airfield, added by JNSQ. And I deployed the landing gear too early, and the landing gear on this, they're probably too large for this, and any landing gear will act as massive air brakes. So I'm no longer able to pitch up, and yeah, pretty rough landing, and the canard fell off. Still better than any of the landings with my previous shuttle. I'm actually on a runway this time. So yeah, I'd say that was a pretty successful first flight, taking everything into account. I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye!